The Chicago Bulls are on the road in this interconference game today. We welcome you this Thursday evening. Hoping you're having a good one and are as excited as we are for this one. Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr joining me in the booth. Good evening, everyone. This is Kevin Harlan. And now a quick check of our starting lineups for both teams. And guys, taking a look at Thabo Sefolosha, what will we see from him?
You know, every team needs a stopper out on the perimeter, Kevin. There's so many great offensive players in this league, so you've got to have a guy who can shut people down. That's what Sefolosha does. He's savvy, he's long-armed, he's quick laterally, and he knows how to defend.
Yeah, one thing that Thabo always had is that defensive calling card, guys, that great defensive presence. It isn't easy finding guys out on the perimeter who play like him, and this team is lucky to have him, getting his hands in passing lanes, deflecting passes, always around the ball, lockdown defense, invaluable play. Thunder making a quick stop here in front of their home crowd of Oklahoma City, just one game before heading back out on the road. They put it all together over the course of the last 7 games. They've only had one loss over that span.
And Kevin, with the role they're on right now, I think you'd have to consider them one of the leading contenders to take home the trophy. There are a lot of teams in that discussion, but they're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, Steve, their axe is being sharpened at just the right time of year. I mean, this is exactly when you want to be getting hot. Everything falling into order for them right now.
The Bulls shooting their first free throws here for the night.
Well, the season numbers for this club really low. I mean, this is something that the team has been focusing on. They've got to improve.
And guys, that allows their opponents to play very aggressive defense if they choose to, knowing it's not a bad thing to send them to the foul line.
Now here's Lamb. Turned in an outstanding game against Denver. Lays it up and banks it in.
I don't know who was supposed to be on him there, but clearly a mistake by the defense.
You know, with the recent success of Oklahoma City, you forget that in Kevin Durant's first season, they started out going 3-29. And I tell you what, you talk about their success, it's due to the resilience and perseverance and leadership of Kevin Durant and the rest of those guys.
And plenty of contact on the shot. So, 2 free throws coming up. Well, there is a culture of hard work, as Clark is talking about, and the perseverance for this Oklahoma City Thunder organization. Their star players, Steve, get a lot of credit, but it's the whole organization, don't you think?
No question. It's the culture that was set. Scott Brooks has continued to kind of establish that atmosphere in the locker room. And they have players who just want to work and want to get better. And when you have a large group of people all with that same approach, you're going to be very successful.
Well, he doesn't waste too many of those chances close to the basket.
Oklahoma City comes into this one after the win against the Nuggets.
And you know what was most impressive? They wasted very few possessions in that game. They ran their offense close to perfection.
That's what we call a mute button game in front of a hostile crowd. They never let the fans get into it, had them on their hands the whole time.
You know, something we're seeing less and less of these days, that little finger roll.
Won't happen right away, but Jeremy Lamb has all the tools, I think, to be a fantastic defender at the NBA level. Young players oftentimes take a couple of years to figure it out defensively, but he's got everything he needs to be elite at that end.
Now here's Westbrook. He's another guy now at a stellar performance in that win against Denver.
And they're nearly perfect from the floor early on. 4 of their first 5 shots they've drained.
Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
Hey, Kevin, Scott Brooks gave me a few minutes to share with him. He said that their defensive focus, no surprise, will be trying to keep Derrick Rose out of the lane. He added, you know he's come a long way as an outside shooter, but he's a pick-your-poison type of player. We can't let him get into the paint. Makes sense, Kevin.
Thanks again, Doris. Jimmy Butler, he's checked in for the Bulls. High arcing shot for 3, Westbrook. And again, Oklahoma City, no good. Chicago trailing here. Tough loss coming against the Rockets in the last game they played.
You know, they weren't anywhere near their best in that game, but it was a really scrappy performance in the end. Somehow, they almost pulled it off, Clark.
Yeah, they showed a lot of guts there, Steve. A lot of fortitude, tenacity, perseverance. Even as shaky as they were, they probably felt they should have come out on top.
And Jeremy Lamb, a 6'11" wingspan for this kid. He's shown promise. The Thunder have gone 1 of 3 to start out the second quarter. And now, brought to you by Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset our lineups. So for Chicago right now, up front, Boozer and Noah. The chosen one out there at Derrick Rose. And it's Dang in at the 3.
You got to put bodies on the glass right there. They just are not getting it done on the boards.
Yeah, they've got to do a much better job of going harder than that to the glass.
Now here's Rose. Had a tough time getting anything going against the Rockets. He was a non-factor. Shot to end this full run. Cannot hit. Nice D from Jeremy Lamb. Thunder have gone 2 of 5 from the field here in the second quarter, shooting 40%. Back to Westbrook. Some nice passing by Oklahoma City here. He lobs up the alley-oop pass, and Ibaka slams it in.
Incredible timing on the alley-oop.
He absolutely hammered it down.
And that's the play we're going to remember when this game is all said and done.
Here's the chosen one. He had an 18-point outing in the last game against the Rockets in Houston.
And a gigantic game for him at the free throw line. I mean, he was initiating contact and really hunting those whistles from the referees.
Now here is Cephalosha looking for his first basket still in this one. That's good. And it's a 5-point Thunder lead.
Well, they're going on this run, and ball movement has been a big key.
Yeah, they have the defense on the run right now because every pass seems to have a purpose. They're getting great movement, great spacing, and they're really lining them up defensively.
And the Thunder making a change here. Jackson's checked in. Here's the chosen one, and that one's good. The chosen one's got his first basket of the night.
That's kind of his strong suit, the ability to find his way through the defense and finish at the rim.
Well, the Bulls battled in last year's postseason. Got a Game 7 win in Brooklyn to sneak out of round 1 in what was one of the more interesting series of the first round, but then fell to the Heat in round 2.
Down to 5 on the shot clock. Here's Jackson. It's hauled in by the Bulls. Noah's got his 3rd rebound tonight. Following this one, they get to host the Cavaliers. That game will be a quick pit stop before hitting the road again. Pass to the chosen one. He kicks it to Boozer. The shot misses. Ibaka with some nice D. And for the Bulls, no Rose the whole time. And they had questions constantly being asked if he would return. But the team came together, Steve, and showed the Bulls aren't just a one-man show.
You know, they missed him, though, Kevin, desperately. I thought they performed admirably, but they really needed him.
And almost 4 minutes gone here in the second quarter of play. The kick out to Dang. Passes to the chosen one. Back to Dang. Just 5 to shoot. The pass to the chosen one. And the shot no good, a bit short.
Boy, for my taste, he's far too inconsistent with that shot. I mean, he's got to make those if he's going to take his game to the next level.
No good from Lamb.
Jimmy Butler was the last pick of the first round back in 2011 by the Bulls. And last season, I tell you what, he really solidified his place in the rotation, guys. He's still developing his outside shot, but he brings an awful lot to light to the table.
And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to Doris Burke for an update. Hi, Doris.
Hi, Kevin. The chosen one in their last time out against the Rockets put together a nice one. He picked up 18 points, and in addition to his scoring, he also came away with a season high for rebounds. You really couldn't point to too many things he did wrong in what was a complete performance from him, guys.
All right, Doris. Well, what do you guys think? Does that kind of big performance energize a player in his next game, or has it, like Steve, began taking a toll physically?
I think it just depends on the individual, Kevin. Probably depends on how he's feeling physically overall. But usually a guy who has a big night like that, it's going to carry over just the confidence. It'll carry to the next game.
Yeah, I would not disagree with you on there, Steve. There's something about confidence in this game that really fuels you and energizes you. When you've performed well, then you feel like you can do it again and again and again.
And for Jimmy Butler, what a story. Abandoned as a child, bounced around from home to home. One coach would take him in, another family would take him in. It was a very tough upbringing down in the Houston area. He overcame tremendous odds. And to be where he is today with the great attitude after a short time At Marquette, it speaks volumes of his character.
Well, it sure shows in his play, doesn't it? I mean, just the way he hustles and draws fouls, rebounds, defends. He can guard multiple positions out there. You just love his overall game and his toughness and what he brings to this team.
Gordon. That's good. And it's Jackson with the assist that time.
Great interplay there between those two teammates.
Butler on the way. The baseline J. Close game as we wrap up the second quarter.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
Welcome to 2K Sports. The games are starting to take on a little more meaning.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
And it's been a back-and-forth game so far with no ground given through the first half. Third quarter starting here now.
Well, Westbrook has been great. He has 12 points, and he hasn't forgotten to get his teammates involved either.
Well, that's important, Clark. I mean, he's conscious of the fact that moving the ball around gets the defense to move. It forces them to work, and it creates a better offensive flow for his own team.
Baka has the four with Perkins at the pivot. Backcourt tandem, Westbrook and Jeremy Lamb. And it's Cephalosha in at the 3 sides. That's the lineup in the game for Oklahoma City.
Well, you could see it at the start of the season that Oklahoma City was being driven by falling short in the 2012 finals. Their focus was on being the best team in the West, and they jumped on that goal right from the start.
And for the Thunder, the second-best regular season record in the league last season, Steve, at 60-22.
Well, and they had the best point differential in the league, Kevin, which I think is probably the best barometer in terms of how well you're playing. But clearly the Westbrook injury in the first round of the playoffs against Houston just completely took the wind out of their sails. And I would look for Oklahoma City to be back this year. With everybody healthy, they'll have a chip on their shoulders. They want to get back to the finals this year.
Here's Ibaka, and that comes off the assist by Russell Westbrook. And the Thunder lead by 9. Here's the chosen one. He's covered by Westbrook. Here's the chosen one. Battles through traffic and lays it in. The chosen one's got 6 points. And if you're just joining us, we've played over a minute here in the third. Westbrook gets a screen from Ibaka. The dish to Lamb. 13 feet away. The offensive rebound. Cephalosha kicks to Westbrook. Pass to Lamb. Back to Westbrook. Left side Westbrook. Kicks it to Lamb. There's the 3. And they call over the back here. Too much contact.
Well, you like it when a guy goes hard to the boards, but you have to be smart. He went right over his back on that one. Not a good play.
I think he was just over anxious that time.
Perkins dishes to Westbrook. To the paint. Goes back up. And blocked. Cephalosha's shot is good. Cephalosha's got 5 points now this quarter.
Hard work on the glass once again, fellas. They put a lot of effort into their rebound.
Well, you get more rebounds, you get more possessions, more shots at the hoop, and oftentimes that decides the game.
Here's the chosen one. He's covered by Westbrook, so he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up, and 2 shots coming up.
Obvious foul.
And he took a hit right there and earned those free throws.
The Bulls have shot just above 55% of the line, going 5 of 9. And that's good as he hits both of his shots. The Thunder leading by 7. Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris?
As you know, guys, Kevin Durant was the runner-up to LeBron James in MVP voting last season. Elite company, but for Durant, it's not good enough. He said, quote, "I've been second my whole life. I was the second best player in high school. I was the second pick in the draft. I've been second in the MVP voting 3 times. I came in second in the finals. I'm tired of being second." And as for his friendship with LeBron, Durant said, "I'm not taking it easy on him. Guys, sounds like he's taking no prisoners this season."
A scary thought. Thanks, Doris.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
And guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition. Oh, that's a frustrating one there. Easy look at the hoop.
Bulls trail by 8. The chosen one passes to Noah. Here's the chosen one. Back to Noah. Gets the bucket. Noah's got 6.
Sharp pass to give his teammate the high percentage shot in close.
Outside Westbrook. Lamb. All alone. And the rebound goes to Boozer.
He's tried to get it going, but the shots just have not dropped for him today.
People have talked about the defensive renaissance in Chicago as a big part of their turnaround, and that's accurate. Bibbs has done wonders for this team defensively, but another aspect is that they've had one of the deepest benches in the league the past few years, too.
Stolen by Westbrook. And the chosen one gets the whistle that time. That's foul number 2 for him. So Chicago going with an almost entirely new group here. Jones sets the pick for Jackson. Left side Jackson. Here's Lamb. That's good. And it's Jackson with the assist that time. Jackson's got his 4th assist with that last one here tonight. Go back to what you said, Clark, about Chicago. It is a credit to them that they've been able to constantly add or draft talent that is ready to step in for them. And Steve contribute off the bench.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You think about Taj Gibson, a late first-round pick. Jimmy Butler last year really emerged as one of the best young players in the league. Great story. So terrific job by the Bulls front office in figuring out which player to take later in the first round.
You know, so much has been said about the Oklahoma City home court advantage, and for good reason. I mean, you can feel it and hear it like a college atmosphere.
That's a good point. Clark, back to what you said. Not only can you hear it when they are here, you can literally feel it. The rumbling, Steve, when you first come out of the tunnel is amazing.
Well, the Thunder have a fantastic team, Kevin, and you know they've been good the last few years, but you don't go 34-7 at home like they did last season without a significant advantage coming from the crowd. And I think that's been the case here. The crowd is loud and active and fired up every single night.
The shot's good from the chosen one.
These defenders are not putting up much of a fight on the interior. It's been embarrassing. That's 10 consecutive points allowed in the lane.
And that's not the kind of streak you want to have if you're playing defense.
That's right where they wanted to go with the ball on that possession.
He passes to Butler. Here's the chosen one, defended by Lamb. Snell. The feather touch on the finger roll. Beautiful.
I don't know what's happening to their defense. I mean, they don't have any effort, any purpose.
And it's really costing them. I mean, the last 5 baskets at that end have been on very easy looks.
Jackson. It's good, and he drew contact on the shot, so he will go to the line. A 3-point play chance here. And the Bulls making a change here. Fabit's checked in. Bulls trail by 8. 2-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Pass to the chosen one. Snell. And the Bulls, another 3.
This has been a different kind of game here in the second half. I thought both clubs a little slow in the first.
No question, but they're really going at it now.
Here's Lamb. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
Well, at least the defender got his money's worth on that one.
Yep, that was an easy whistle for the official.
The Thunder have been after free throws in this one, going 3 of 6 so far.
Well, you got to like the free throw shooting from this club all season long. They're shooting 81%. Those are impressive numbers.
And this year they haven't quite.
2K Sports Magazine, the latest issue, is now available. And on the cover, it's the chosen one, a breakout talent, making his mark in the NBA.
Hello and thanks for joining us, folks. The 4th quarter of play should begin momentarily. And what's your take, guys, on the hustle stats for the Thunder?
Boy, their hounding, harassing effort at the defensive end, very impressive. And they forced quite a few turnovers as a result.
And the other thing they're doing is they're forcing turnovers and then converting those miscues into points at the other end.
On the court for the Bulls, getting this 4th quarter started. Up front, Boozer and Noah. The chosen one out there with Derrick Rose. And it's Dunleavy in at the 3, the small forward. Cephalosha kicks to Gomes. 4 on the clock. And it's good with time running down in the shot clock. And the Thunder lead by 7.
You know, with the expectations low for him, he can provide a nice lift when he does put the ball in the basket.
The chosen one passes to Boozer. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here.
Well, you know, Carlos Boozer wasn't as efficient last season as we've seen in the past, and I think in large part it was due to the extended absence of Derrick Rose. He was the bailout option for the team on many occasions.
Bulls making a switch here. Deng's checked in. Westbrook gets a screen from Ibaka. It's Westbrook with the drive. Feeds it to Cephalosha. This is to Gomes. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. And Clark, for Boozer, you talked about his offensive efficiency. Strong physical player, but he only averaged about, Steve, I think like 3 free throws a game last season.
Well, he's a fadeaway jump shooter. He's an excellent offensive player, pretty efficient in his scoring, but most of his post-ups end up in fadeaway jump shots, and that's why he doesn't get to the line very often.
They're really getting the work done inside with their rebound.
Yeah, not giving up too many second chance opportunities, which is always important. It's been one of the reasons they have the lead right now.
And the lead just grows on that ridiculous offensive sequence.
No, Clark, that dunk alone would have been spectacular. Never mind it coming at the end of an alley-oop.
Yeah, that just added more to it.
Yeah, what a beautiful connection on that play. He was right there, but the defensive pressure forced that miss.
Well contested. That really made it a tough shot.
Near the three-point line, it's Westbrook. Here's Cephalosha. No good. Nice D from Dang.
He's always going to have a difficult time finishing when the defense is in his face like that.
Rose kicks to Dang. Back to Rose. Launches a 3. The shot, no good. And it's Oklahoma City the other way. And going against Chicago, their first meeting of the season.
Remember, they won both games against this club last season, which was, I think, one of the highlights of the year.
Boy, he is a strong finisher on the fast break.
Yeah, he sure is. He remains in total control, even at full speed. I love that about him.
Jeremy Lamb's checked in for Ryan Gomes.
And, you know, the rebounding edge here has been key because they're getting a lot of extra possessions offensively as a result.
Guys, you're absolutely right. It's made all the difference.
And Lamb kicks to Westbrook. Ball stolen. Rose passes to the chosen one. And the shot is good.
We've seen a noticeable improvement out of him since halftime. He didn't have a whole lot working in the first half.
Steve was talking about this moments ago about the sweep. Not easy to do, certainly, when you take on an opponent, when you know. And even if it's just a 2-game series like this one is, and it won't be any easier this year, I don't think, either, Craig.
No, it won't. I mean, we can be pretty certain, Kevin, that both of these teams are going to be battling for the top spot in their respective conferences. So the games between them will be hard-fought and tough.
Westbrook drives in. It's blocked. Fourth quarter of play, and over 3.5 minutes have gone by. Here's the chosen one, defended by Lamb. Offensive rebound. Noah's shot is off. The Thunder leading by 7. Lamb dishes to Westbrook. Ibaka sets the pick for Westbrook. He feeds it to Cephalosha. Back to Westbrook. Shot clock at 6. Now here's Dang. He's guarded closely. Passes it to the chosen one. Makes it off the glass. The chosen one's got 12 points in just the second half.
And his confidence has come back since halftime after really a rough first 2 quarters.
Let's catch up with Doris from the sideline.
Yes, Kevin, during that break, Coach Scott Brooks had some words for his team. He said, we are this close to finishing them off, but the job is not done yet, and I don't want to see any let-up out there. We'll see how well his point got across, guys.
Boy, that was impressive. Major height disadvantage, but he still got the shot up over his man.
Well, he's got the poise to handle any matchup, and he's not easily intimidated. You can see that there. When you're hot, you're hot, and that's certainly been the case for the chosen one. 16 points and 6 assists. He's given them a lot with his passing and with his defensive work.
Now, he's been so active on the court at both ends and really playing a nice game.
That one falls, so he hits both of them.
Some good work at the line there to chip away at the lead. A few more productive trips, and things can really turn around in this game.
Here's Westbrook, and there's another one for the Thunder.
You're going to be waiting a long time if you're waiting for him to miss that when he's that open.
Here's the chosen one. 1:03 left to play here in the fourth. Tries again. Yes! Oh, and that cuts the lead to just 5.
That rebound and the follow kind of typify what he's all about. Just gritty, determined play.
Fires from the line. And Oklahoma City again with the bucket. Chicago has gone 3 of 6 tonight, and they've let it fly from downtown. Noah kicks to Boozer. It's rebounded by Oklahoma City. And now we've got the intentional foul. Derrick Rose is checked in for the chosen one. So no problem for Oklahoma City as they get the win.
Don't know if you've seen it yet, but you're on the cover of yet another magazine. What's it like to see yourself getting such worldwide recognition at this stage in your career?
It's a real honor, man. I've been dreaming about playing in the NBA and being on magazine covers since I was a little kid. And now to see myself on another one is pretty amazing. It's the kind of thing I can look back on one day and be proud of, that's for sure. For now, I'll enjoy it some, but I can't let myself get too caught up in that kind of thing, you feel me? The team in this season are way too important for that.
And the players getting reacquainted prior to the tip. A pretty loose atmosphere out there. We're broadcasting from Chicago as the Bulls get ready to take the hardwood here at the United Center. Well, starting 5 for our game. Here are tonight's starting lineups. And as we take a look here at Derrick Rose, guys, what's your take?
Yeah, he's an exciting player, Kevin, with outstanding speed, and I love his aggressive attitude. He will explode when he gets into the open court. And he does so much for his team's tempo and pace when he's on the court.
And, Steve, very few players have his finishing ability. We see him get a lot of and-ones because even if he draws hard contact, he is able to play through that and typically score.
And just a single game trip away from Cleveland for the Cavaliers. Facing off here against a very talented ball club, guys. This is a tremendous chance for them to put all their skill and talent on display.
And as far as the regular season goes, Kevin, this is as good as it gets. The definition of a rivalry, a game between these two teams is always special.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I mean, we've seen so many great contests between them in the past that it's impossible not to be amped up. Can't you tell? Well, I tell you what, you consider all the injuries the Bulls had last year, and you look at the 34-18 mark against the Eastern Conference, and it's absolutely remarkable considering what they had to go through personnel-wise.
Now, here is Irving. He had 22 points in the win against Milwaukee.
And he did some nice work on the boards too, Kevin. That was definitely a factor in that game as well.
Here's the chosen one. Pass to Boozer. Defended by Bennett. A jump hook, and it's off the back rim. No good. And back to the Bulls in the East. It wasn't just one guy who stepped in the shoes of Rose or the departed Ashik. It was a group effort.
You know, you looked at the roster last year, you kind of scratch your head. You go, how is this team going to get to the second round without Derrick Rose? But they did it with a group of role players, with a front line that was tough and nasty and rebounded well, and with great coaching, too.
Waiters with the ball. Now guarded by the chosen one. Irving attacking. 5 to shoot. And the whistle blows as the basket counts. And a three-point play chance right here. One free throw coming up.
Outstanding job there to absorb the contact and guide it in.
That's how you impose your will against the defender. He came to play. You know, Joakim Noah, part of those back-to-back championship teams at Florida 2006 and 7, was kind of skinny in college in his first years in the league. But he's done a really good job of adding muscle to his frame. That work in the weight room and in his basement have served him well.
And with the big minutes that Joakim Noah is asked to play, it's a good thing he's been so dedicated to staying in shape.
He's another player, Kevin, who does yoga in the off-season. He's even trained with big wave surfers in Hawaii, going underwater with weights in his hands, doing jumping and running. Pretty interesting training regimen, but of course he's a very interesting guy.
Pretty wild, huh? All right, let's go over to the sideline with Doris Burke.
I had a chance to catch up with Tom Thibodeau. He'll be facing one of the towering post presences of the game in Andrew Bynum. Coach said, you know he's getting so much more aggressive, looking for his shot inside. He can finish right over the top of you. As with any big guy like him, it starts with getting a low base and trying to keep him out as far as you can. Then offensively, you've got to be ready to drop it off when he rotates to block the shot. Guys will see if they can make the right adjustments.
And thank you, Doris.
You know, the instant that steal was made, they were off and running the other way.
Ball pressure, then a run-out seed. That's perfection to me.
Now, here is Irving, averaging 24 points per contest. Dishes to G. The pass to Bennett. Some nice passing by Cleveland here. Missed inside.
Great defense in the paint there, making it tough on the offense.
That's what he brings, a presence. I mean, you saw it on that miss.
And it's Rose penetrating. Noah, the pass to the chosen one. Back to Noah. Rose. Bynum with the block. In transition, here come the Cavaliers. Irving leading the charge. G, no good.
He's always going to have a difficult time finishing when the defense is in his face like that.
And so it looks like the Bulls will retain possession here. And how about we check out the group of rookies with the best percentages from the charity streak this season. Third is Anthony Bennett.
He needs to continue getting to the free throw line as much as possible because he's pretty deadly once he gets there.
And that's what can take rookies a little time to learn, Steve. Knocking down your free throws is one thing, but getting to the line with aggressive, smart play is the hard part. I tell you what, the Cavs can certainly attest to how strong the Central Division was last year. It was a big problem for the Cavs finding wins against the rest of their division mates, and they ended up last in the Central Division standing.
Now, here is Irving. From deep three-point range, an absolute bomb from three-point range. G's got himself going with the triple, his first basket of the game. Rose passes to the chosen one. And stolen by Kyrie Irving. And it's G finishing it off.
Boy, extremely.
Now we get a chance to check out the standings out east already. We are in December. Taking a look at Chicago. A terrific position for them as they hold up that illustrious top spot, but it's a long season, as we all know. And checking out Cleveland, 9 games back.
When I look at Cleveland, they've actually been right about where you'd expect them to be, guys. Right in the middle of the pack. Kind of average.
And that can be a tricky place for a franchise. It's not really a contender, but often without the draft picks to make a big leap. It'll be interesting to see if and how they manage to break through.
And so in the game for the Cavaliers, Irving and Waiters, the guards. Bennett is out there with Andrew Bynum. And it's Miles in at the 3. And for the Cavs, nobody expected them to win the Central by any means. But, Steve, their fans were hoping they could avoid another finish at the bottom of the heap and a division record of 3-13.
Well, that's 3 straight finishes at the bottom of the Central Division for them. But look, this is a tough group of teams with Indiana and Chicago, of course, at the top. But, you know, Cleveland is a young team. They're going up against some veteran squads. They should be better as this season goes on and as their young players continue to improve. Perseverance paying off on the offensive boards, guys.
Last outing for the Bulls, it was a loss to Oklahoma City.
They had major problems at the charity stripe in that game. It was interesting. They just could not make free throws.
Yeah, and that's frustrating to watch, especially on the road where your opportunities at the line tend to be a little more sparse than when you're at home. Boy, you've got to cash in on it.
4 on the clock. And the shot counts. He's fouled, and it's a chance for a 3-point play.
But you have to love a point guard who can get his own shot at any time, because when the game slows down, shot clock winds down, you need somebody to be able to create a shot. That's exactly what Irving can do.
And it's easy to create shots when you can handle things the way Irving does on the fly. I mean, he'll be heading towards the hoop, see a lane get closed off, change direction, recalibrate, and he's already in the air and making things happen with a floater or knocking down a tough shot.
From the arc. Here's Bynum. Can't hit. Great defense that time from Noah. So for Cleveland, their last game, a win against Milwaukee.
I just love the rhythm they got into offensively. I mean, they really started to click from the outset, and it carried through the whole way.
And that result was indeed impressive. They basically cruised all the way home.
Now let's send it to Doris from the sideline.
Hi, Kevin. The chosen one in their last time out against the Thunder looks really strong. He had 18 points, and in addition to those points, he added a couple of steals. It was just a solid outing for him and one that every coach likes to see.
Doris, thank you. Well, guys, you know, he made play after play in that game.
Well, as he often does, Kevin, and we'll see. Maybe he'll explode again tonight because the momentum that he took away from that game, he's got to be feeling confident.
Well, I don't know if it'll carry over, but clearly the fact that you have a high-level performance in your recent memory bank has to do you some good. And like you said, Steve, we'll find out tonight whether it continues. Noah once again had a really solid season, but his field goal percentage numbers dropped from where they had been the past few years. I think part of it was not having Derrick Rose on the floor, and then also he was hurt. Plantar fasciitis bothered him some, but not having Rose, I think, led to Noah forcing the issue a bit.
Jarrett Jack is checked in for Cleveland. And so here is Chicago after the miss from G. Here's the chosen one. He's covered by Irving. Gets the bucket. That's 12 points for the chosen one. And speaking of Noah, some dip into his finishing numbers. You wonder if his injuries played a part in that.
Yeah, Coach Thibodeau rode him pretty hard. Career high in minutes. In fact, second most per game among centers in the NBA last season. And remember, he had the foot injury during the playoffs. He's always had some health issues, but he's battled through them.
Are you surprised that he's become the warrior that he's become in the NBA?
Not really, Kevin. He was a winner at Florida, a guy who loved to play. He's got a lot of passion for the game.
And on the way from Irving for 3. Again, Irving missing.
Things have kind of gone south for him here in the quarter.
2 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. Here's the chosen one. Goes back up, and the layup is up and in. Noah's got 5 points in the quarter.
Boy, where was the box out? Too easy on that second chance opportunity.
Yeah, no box out is what happened there. Those kind of mistakes on the glass will kill a team.
And the chosen one gets the whistle that time. That's foul number 2 for him. And Jack, here we go. Misses off the right iron. Here's Butler. He got it up in time, but it wouldn't fall for him. And the first half ends in a close one. Cavaliers lead by 4.
Now, presented by Sprint.
Hello, everyone. I'm Damon Bruce, and the NBA season is really getting into gear. The Cleveland Cavaliers ahead against the Bulls out at United Center. They're trying to close in on the 8th best record in the conference. A win here would give it to them. Outstanding bench production. They've gotten a very nice lift, and that's made a huge difference for them on the scoreboard. And the Bulls going all out. Garbage points making up the difference, and right now they're sweeping the streets. A sensational first half for the chosen one. He's got 12 points, and he's been all over the defensive side of the court as well. And back to the United Center we go. The third quarter just about to start.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
Welcome back, everybody. The start of the second half getting underway. Both teams battling hard through the first half. It's been one outstanding game from Miles.
I like that he didn't force anything in that first half. His decision-making was really flawless.
That being the case, Steve, I think they want him to be more assertive in the second half. Look to take more shots. Be a little more shot hungry, even the tough ones.
Up front, Boozer and Noah. On the wings, Butler and Gang. And it's the chosen one in at the point. That's the 5 out there for the Bulls. And Boozer gets it to go.
Tell you what, it's hard to argue with the record for Coach Tom Thibodeau of the Bulls, but the rumor mill has it that the front office hasn't been happy with how hard he's ridden his top players. Luol Deng missed time last season with a hamstring injury. Joakim Noah came down with plantar fasciitis. Hey, those things happen, and I'm not quite sure you can put that at the feet of Tom Thibodeau.
The chosen one passes to Butler. Good ball movement here by the Bulls. And there's the call on Kyrie Irving. That is his first foul of the game. And going back to Tom Thibodeau and that minutes load on his stars, it seems it's getting harder for players to weather big minutes, Steve, these days.
I think it's going to be really interesting going forward to see this Bulls team this year and beyond. Will that wear them down? Their guys played too many minutes. They've had a lot of injuries. I think it's time to scale back a little bit on the minutes played.
And that'll be Cleveland as it goes out of bounds. Cavaliers retain possession.
Looking at the Cavaliers over the last 10 and how they compare to the rest of the league, this is what we've got. 11th in blocks, 14th in fewest turnovers per game. And they're in the top half of the league in free throw shooting as well. Pretty good, but they could certainly stand some improvement there.
Third quarter of play with just over a minute and a half gone by. And Bennett throws it down.
A high-quality shot is almost always going to come off a rebound like that.
And Clark, he is so good at working his way inside, holding off the defenders under the glass, and being in the right position.
Knows how to use his body.
Yeah, and I just like the way he persistently pursues the pumpkin.
Bulls had won the Central each of the last 2 seasons, but were unable to make it 3 in a row as the Pacers grabbed the Central Division title last season. Still, considering the injuries, the Bulls had a good run.
And back to the Bulls. They went 9-7 in division last year, Steve, and kept pace with the Pacers for a while for the title, but never could really close the gap.
Seems like the Bulls are always in the mix for the Central Division title. I mean, since the realignment in 2004, the Bulls have never finished in the bottom of this division, and more often than not, they're in one of the top 2 spots.
And the officials call over the back. A little too aggressive there.
Yeah, that was kind of clumsy looking. He was not going to get away with that.
He climbed all over him like he was on the ladder. I mean, that's an easy over-the-back call there.
And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to Doris Burke for an update. Hi, Doris.
Guys, Jared Jack might have the largest collection of basketball shoes in the league with over 1,500 pairs. He said, I remember when I had a condo in one city and I didn't have many places to put them. So I started putting them in cabinets. You'd go into the kitchen to get a cup and there'd be shoes in there. He says that once his playing days are over, he envisions future endeavors in sneaker design. Guys, he's following his passion.
Interesting. Thanks, Doris.
That's a battle they haven't been winning today, guys. Their work on the glass has to improve.
And that's not the only thing that's gone against them.
Bulls trail by 10. Guys, they're looking for a way to score here.
Yeah, they've had a tough time getting the lid off the basket so far.
And top the bucket. And that reminds me, did either of you guys see him in the last press conference?
I saw him, Kevin, and I thought it was interesting. He talked about what an honor it was to get that type of recognition. Talked about how he's dreamt about playing in the NBA and being on magazine covers since he was a little kid. But he doesn't want it to change his focus. And it's easy to do. Once you start feeling pretty happy about the way things are going, maybe you forget about the effort that it took to get there in the first place.
I think his approach is a good way to keep it, in the right perspective, Steve.
It looked to me as though the Cavs seemed to take a step backwards last year in their development. It wasn't that they lost any players. They just failed to take the next step in terms of competing in the Eastern Conference.
And the Cavaliers making a change here. Verjau's checked in. Snell. Shot denied. Cleveland leading by 10. Waiters with the ball. And Rose picks him up defensively. And the shot is good. 13 points for Kyrie Irving. Cavs did have a hard time against other Eastern teams. Had a hard time against any team, really. But in games against the East, Steve, they went 18-34. That's not going to cut it.
No, and the only division that the Cavs really held their own against was the Southeast, which was obviously pretty weak. So this was a Cleveland team that knew it was going to struggle. They did struggle. But again, hope for the future with a lot of young talent. And remember, they got the #1 pick, Anthony Bennett.
Kicks to Bennett. Waiters with the screen for Bennett. He dishes it to Waiters. Stolen by Rose. Here's the chosen one. Rips down the breakaway slam.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
And guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition.
Now Irving. He's got 13. The dish to G. 6 on the shot clock. Cleveland needs to get a shot off here. And it's Irving missing.
Almost surprised that he had that much room to work with.
The chosen one passes to Rose. Here's the chosen one. He kicks it to Noah. And it's rebounded by Anderson Verjau. Verjau's got 3 rebounds so far in the game. Here's G. And 2 free throws coming up as he misses that one. Drawing the whistle and a lot of contact there.
Yeah, something to look for with him is how persistent he is defensively. He loves going for the strip when guys are on the way up.
Steve, I really like the way he uses his hands. He's excellent in that regard. It's a risky play to try to go for the steal when the shooter is going up into the shot. But he finds a way to get away with it more times than not. Another bucket in the paint, that's something they just have not been able to stop today.
I think it's time to make some adjustments defensively. I mean, what they've got going right now is not getting it done.
The Cavaliers shooting their 7th and 8th attempts at the foul line tonight.
And their success rate from the stripe this season about 77%.
And comparing to the numbers of last season, they've made a bit of improvement. So that's some positive momentum they can look to build on.
Looking at who's out there now for the Cavaliers. Earl Clark's checked in for Tyler Zeller. And it's C.J. Miles in for Alonzo G. Pushing it up. Felix, T covering. He feeds it to Miles. Deflects the pass. The kick out to Jack. From 11 feet away. That's blocked. From the other side of the floor. And as we end the 3rd quarter, a great game. Both
2K Sports Magazine. The latest issue is now available. And on the...
Well, welcome back as we get set to start the 4th. And guys, let's get your take on the scoring breakdown for Cleveland.
So far, they've turned in a fantastic performance from the three-point line. It's been a weapon all game.
And I'll tell you, the other thing, guys, is the mid-range shot has been something that's really worked well for them tonight.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade for the 4th quarter. On the court for Cleveland, Thompson and Bynum play together in the middle. Then it's Jarrett Jack. Then it's Alonzo G. Here's the chosen one. And a foul on the shot. He'll go to the stripe for 2. That's going to be on Jarrett Jack.
You know, in one of the more compelling postseason stories, the question about when the Bulls would bring Derrick Rose back just continued to hover around the playoffs. Ultimately, just never happened.
Well, back to the Bulls, and even without Rose, I think the team made a big statement, Steve, with how they played in the postseason. They showed that they weren't just a one-man show with Rose running things, and have a solid core and system that will always compete.
Well, it's the second straight year that the Bulls have essentially been without Rose in their playoff run due to injury. And so I think Chicago fans are kind of wondering what exactly the roof is for this team, the ceiling, if you will. Let's hope that Rose stays healthy this year, so we'll find out.
The Cavaliers leading by 10. Back to Thompson. Gives him the lead pass, and it's blocked by Dang. About a minute and a half through the fourth quarter now. Bumped on the way up, but hits it, and they call the blocking foul.
And that kind of power move has become a trademark for him.
Building through the draft as the Cavs are means you're trying to collect as much young talent as you can, and evidence of that is the fact that the Cavs had 4 representatives in the Rising Stars Challenge last year.
Then it's checked in for Tristan Thompson. Irving attacking, feeds to Bynum. He passes to Waiters. Dishes it to Bennett. Passes it to Waiters. Here's Bynum. And 3 chances on that possession, but they just couldn't find a way to score. Here's the chosen one. He's guarded by Bynum. The chosen one passes to Noah. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. And the players, Clark, you mentioned represented in last season's contest. Irving, Thompson, Zeller, Waiters. Definitely something to be happy about when you're seeing that many of your players get a chance to do something like the Rising Stars game, Steve.
Well, and you add the young players this year, and Kasserov, Anthony Bennett. And this is a team that's loaded with young talent. It's all about just putting it together. And I think it's going to be fun to watch this team blossom over the next couple of seasons.
Now a look at the Cavaliers' upcoming schedule. And at home for the next game, it'll be Detroit pulling into town. That game marks the first half of a quick 2-game homestand.
I think a lot of people will be paying close attention to that Boston game, guys.
Here's the chosen one. Battles through traffic and lays it in. They got on this roll a while ago, and they just haven't looked back. Now, here is Irving. He's tightly guarded. And Waiters pitch to Bennett. The feed to Bynum. Working on Noah. Post shot. That's short off the rim.
They've been able to get out to this lead without really getting a very reliable performance out of him from the field.
The chosen one passes to Butler. Here's the chosen one, defended by Waiters. Here's the chosen one. Pass to Boozer. That is good. And now just a 2-point Cavalier lead.
Despite the troubles he had in the first half, he stayed composed, focused, and now he's getting it going.
Let's go quickly over to Doris Burke for an update.
Thanks, Kevin. I got a chance to hear what Mike Brown was saying to the team. He urged his players to keep fighting, saying, "We're right there, but the margin of error has shrunk. We've got to play aggressive and smart." Guys?
Bucket there, and I'll tell you what, that was an important shot.
Yeah, it sure was, Steve, because it stopped the bleeding a little bit, and now they've got something positive to hang their hat on. Good! Every time they get scored on during this run, it's come from inside the paint.
Right, you got to make a defensive adjustment here, Clark. Time to collapse inside, force the ball back out in the perimeter, make them beat you from long range.
Here's the chosen one. Pass to Boozer to tie it up. And it's blocked by Bynum. And they're able to recover. No good from the chosen one.
Well, those chances are almost always 2 points for him. I guess the defense did what it had to do to bother him.
And the chosen one gets the whistle that time. That's his 4th foul of the contest.
He just picked up his 4th personal foul, and now he's got some foul trouble hanging over his head, guys.
We've got 1:48 left in the game. Here's Bynum, and Noah with the block. That's out of bounds to the Cavaliers as Cleveland retains possession. A minute 42 left in the fourth quarter. Chicago trailing here. They went to Cleveland for their last meeting with the Cavaliers, and they came out with a win.
And in that game, as I watched it, they were dominant defensively down on the low block, just controlling the paint.
And, you know, once they got a few blocks, the shooters started looking around for those shot blockers, which is no way to be effective offensively.
The chosen one passes to Boozer. Outside Dang. The pass to the chosen one. Bynum with the block. Irving drives in to the middle. Yes, and it's Irving picking up the assist. And the Cavaliers lead by 6.
You know, it seems like when they've gone to him, he's really come through. And that's not something they should get away from.
Back to Dang. Passes it to the chosen one. 9 feet out, and Bynum with the block. There's 42 seconds left to play here in the fourth. Irving with it, now defended by the chosen one. Waiters dishes to Bynum. Stolen by Boozer.
Time running low here. They need a hoop.
Yeah, score quickly and then foul them right away.
Cavaliers have gone 5 of 12 from the field entering the fourth quarter, and so they choose to intentionally foul. He hits the first one, and that makes it a 7-point lead. And the Cavaliers will go with a different look here. And so he drops them both. It's an 8-point game. Jarrett Jack is checked in for Kyrie Irving. That one rolling around and rims out.
Man, that's a low percentage shot right there.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, he's got to be thinking out there a little better. Make the pass in that situation. Don't force a bad shot.
We see the Cavaliers get the win here. It was a solid win, Clark.
Yeah.
You had 23 points. It seemed that the team was looking your way as they tried to cut into the deficit. Any comments to that?
Well, they should have. I was the one shouldering the load, trying to take us over the top to get the W. It isn't like it's a secret that if you want points, you should get me the ball. I have to commend my teammates for that because they knew who had the best chance of leading them to the win. Unfortunately, some of the breaks didn't go our way, so I couldn't do my thing entirely. But this is the kind of game we can take in the future, as long as the offense keeps going through me.